Hi guys, this is just a short video to present one of the new features I've been waiting for a very long time. For feels like forever, we've had the web client. It's been a source of frustration for me personally that whenever I wanted to show some fields in a page, I was limited to only the predefined fields which are made available by the developer. And since in the old versions it was relatively easy if I had a dev license to just go into edit mode and pretty much add any field with just a few clicks, so it was very easy. And I've personally never wanted to dig into learning how to play with VS Code. That's a whole other discussion we can have another time. So it was kind of frustrating I couldn't have the same flexibility, but even more so that I was forced to push my customers into requiring developer assistance to just visualize fields in pages. Now, those of you who are familiar know that there are apps that actually can fix that issue. So shout out to Eric Hugart, who has a really cool app called, I think it's a simple object designer, which basically allows you to add any field from any table to any of the related pages. But it's an app that you have to pay, so it's kind of still not exactly what I'm looking for. So it was really cool when a few months ago I saw the preview notes for the new Business Central 23, where Microsoft announced that they were finally going to let users do that out of the box without having a special license or a special app. So it's finally here and in production, so I can show you how it works in an actual database. My first instinct was that I could just go to the personalization, like you see on my screen, and I could just switch this new toggle we have and select all fields. So it was kind of frustrating where it just said preview and it's grayed out. Luckily, they did put a good description, so if you read this text, you see that you can actually achieve this, but the feature is only available when customizing rows, which I see most people don't actually know that you can personalize rows and don't necessarily know what that means. Since it's something that's been available for a very long time, but I've seen relatively few people actually take advantage of this functionality, so I thought it's a good idea to show you how it actually works. So what do they actually mean, and how do you get to the point where this grayed out function is actually available? Well, the short of it is that if you search for roles or profiles, you will get to the list of the different role centers that you can choose, and this is the same list you get from when you're checking the My Settings and you're selecting, okay, what's my role center going to be, right? So this is the list you have here, and just in case you're new to this and you're wondering, okay, why did I have more options in that list and here than compared to what I had when I'm selecting my settings, that's simply down to this toggle here enabled. So in the list, when you're setting up your own role, you only see the ones which are enabled. And part of the reason a lot of these are disabled are because they don't actually have a proper role center. So these are just menus from the point of view of making some shortcuts available there, but they didn't properly develop all of them with cues that you have here and make them pretty. So you can enable some more if you want to check which one you want to play with. So anyway, long story short, the idea is you can actually create copies of these, and you can have a different role center based on the same. So the role center ID is actually a page. So a role center is a page which has been developed and just has some elements added to it. So you have had the option to copy an existing profile, create a new one. So Sami test. And then now I have a new one which is based on the accountant profile. So you can see that it is the same role center ID. What's nice is that then for this one I can decide to make some changes in it. So I would let any other users that want to have the access to the base standard version of the role center still use it here, but then I can go into this one and make whatever changes I want. And the way you make these changes is, for example, you have some general settings. For example, you can say you want to disable personalization for any users who are assigned this. Maybe you have some low-level users and you don't want to let them play too much with the role centers, so you can disable this thing. You can also decide whether you have some default settings here, like this could be the default profile for any new user which is added to a database, and so on and so forth. Where it gets really cool is when you click this button, and this is actually what we're looking for. So when you click customize pages, it opens a new tab where you basically have the role center top on screen and you're directly in personalization mode. So this allows you to decide to remove some sections. For example, you could have insights here, which is hidden by default. I can say, you know what, I actually want to show it for the users who are using this one, this version of the profile. So in this case, the SAMI test, whoever gets assigned to it will see the finance performance, but maybe they don't necessarily need to see the product videos or the get started videos, right? So you can make changes like this. And maybe I don't use intercompany in my organization, so I can remove this section here. And maybe I actually want to move the tasks. Actually, will it let me do that? Let's see. Yeah, you can move the tasks up here, so you can rearrange things. Right, so that's some of the things you can do, and you can certainly remove the same level of personalization you have normally. So yeah, I don't do OCR, so we can hide this one, and so on and so forth. However, in addition to that, you also get the option, for example, if you go in the customers, any changes you make here, so any fields that you hide, for example, I don't want to use responsibility centers because it's not important for me by default. If I move the contact to be after the name, and then maybe have the phone number be after that, and then location completely, and so on and so forth, then when I'm done with the personalization, then this will be saved as the default state for anyone using this specific role center. So that's a way to personalize pages for multiple users at the same time. And this is where that cool feature with the all fields is actually enabled. So the nice thing here is that, as you can see, we pretty much have all the fields which exist in the table. I haven't checked, so there might still be a few system fields which are gone. So for example, let's see, do we have the created? No, we do have created at and by. Okay, and modified probably. Okay, that's actually cool. So we do have those system fields. So again, I haven't checked every field to see if it's really literally every field, but you certainly have most of the ones which are normally hidden for you. And the cool thing is you can just drag and drop a couple of them here, and you no longer need a developer for that. That's just as simple as that. So if we say modified by, that's something that pops up relatively often. And of course, you know that you don't need to show the field necessarily. You can still filter by it, and actually this value doesn't help too much because you need to click here to see the name. So yeah, having it in the list might not be as user friendly as I thought. But the idea is you have the capability to add anything you need. So let's go. Something that was always missing was the postcode, I believe. So, and possibly the city, I think. I don't remember which one. One of the two is never shown by default for some reason. Actually, we can see if we go with recommended fields. Yeah. Anyway, you get the idea. So you add a bunch of fields, and you can do this for any pages you want. One of the reasons why I actually was waiting for this is to open the sales lines page, which is one of my favorite additions, together with the posted sales invoice lines. And here you can add a bunch of additional fields, like for example, you may have reason to want to know the line number, so you can easily add it here if that's important for you. But I've had customers ask me why can't we see the unit price here and the discounts and so on. So you can, well, guess what, you can do that now. So you can just as easily add the unit price, you can add the didn't I drop this? Okay, it worked now. You cannot discount. So line discount, let's go ahead and put it after this, and maybe the line discount amount as well. And pretty much any field which is in the table can be added this way. And now I get a pretty cool report, essentially, or source for reports. So when you're done with the customizations, you get this message: your customizations to Summit Test are saved. So you can now close the browser tab. So I can do that, and I can go back. And clearly, if I go to the customers list, you do not see any of the new fields and any of the changes that I made, because I am still using the standard profile. And actually, it's even the business manager profile. So if I go to the accountant, which I believe was the basis for my changes, you see that we still have the standard row center, you have the activities, you have everything is the same. But if we go and say, well, I actually want to assign myself the Summit tests, which we do have here available, because we had that checkbox, then you can see that first of all, we have the insights, we have the user task, so all the changes that I made on the row center are saved. And by the way, did I leave the personalization? Let's check. Actually, don't remember if I left this one in. We can say disable personalization. And let's go ahead and refresh. And as you can see, the personalization is gone, so that's a very easy way to control who gets to do what. So now if we go to the customers list, you see that by default it's rearranged the way we did, and all the fields that we added are here. So we have the city, we have the postcode, we have the phone number. I did remove the modified by in the end. And if we open the sales lines, you will notice that we have the prices and discounts added, and I think I added the idea, not the line number. So that's basically how you get to show any field you want to pretty much any page you want. Now, some of you might be curious, can you do this only with lists? So the short answer is no, you can actually do that pretty much anywhere. So if you go to customize pages, I modified the customers list, but you can also go and open the customer card if you want. So you will need to open a specific customer for that, and then you have the same option here. So for example, we can, let's see, is there's an interesting field that might be, yeah, so there is something called a chain name, which I'm not sure is visible by default. So you can just go ahead and add it here. And then you have a chain name added, which is not editable right now. But anyway, you can add fields to regular pages as well. So it's not only the lists, but the cards, and you can remove anything you want. So any changes you're making here, similarly to what we did before, will now be the de facto default for whenever users who are assigned a specific row open that specific page that you've modified. So now I have this chain name here. So that's it. Yeah. Just a quick short video to explain how this works, and there are a lot of really cool features that came out in version 23, so expect a couple more videos in the next few days and weeks. Have a good one.